Hello, this is Steve from Beato's Leatherworks. Today's project is this well-worn Allen Edmonds Dalton Boots. Now, a couple of issues here that we have to take care of. We're not only doing full leather soles and heels, we're going to replace the Welt, midsoles, adding JR soles, dovetail heels, but we need to take care of these uppers. These look like bleach stains, if I'm not mistaken. Something happened that it removed the color off the leather. So not only full sole and heel job, but we've got to re-dye the uppers to make sure that they are back to the reddish tone like it used to have. And we'll make them look fairly new once it gets done. All right, let's get started. When there's taps at the toe, you got to be careful when you run your blade through it, you don't dull your blade. That's why I stopped it at the toe. You can take the tap off and then cut it. It's not a big deal. Not a big deal at all. All this cork gets replaced. This one happens to have a wooden shank. Sure, that's pretty good. If it's not good, we would replace it. If it's still in good shape, we can reuse it. Looks like it's in pretty good shape. There's no cracks on it. Everything's good to go. Once we remove everything, we're going to work on the uppers first. Try to bring these back as close as we can before we put any welt, soles on, and all that stuff. Now you're not going to get rid of those white spots, right? That is the dye has come off the color. Those aren't dirt spots. So what you're seeing is the light color of the leather underneath. So what we're doing now is just basically cleaning all that surface dirt, the polished buildup, wax, whatever's on there. We're stripping that surface to reapply the dye that's going to hopefully cover those up. Either way, we're going to cover those up somehow or another. It's going to be more of a uniform look once we get done with it. What I'm using here is thinner. You can use acetone too. Acetone will work as well. I just don't have any in the shop today, but this is doing a pretty good job of it. Look at that. So once it gets cleaned up pretty well, and then we'll let it dry for a little bit, and we're going to apply Phoebings. I believe I'm going to start with the red shade first, and that might give it a nice base coat. I don't want to go too dark because it's not really burgundy, right? It's in the reddish shade. I have a pair of these exact same color and model. I've burnished the toes to black a little bit. It's a dark red. We'll see what these look like once they get done. Maybe we'll burnish the toes a bit too. Have to make sure the customer's okay with that first. So as you can see, this is the first step of trying to add some color to it, and I think it'll work out good. Alright, so we've got a nice base coat going on here. Now, I know it looks a little bit bright, but we'll tint that down a little bit. That's not a big deal to do. But the important thing is that those white dots, you see some little bit still, but we're not done with it yet. It's much better than what it was, but we'll hide those once we get done with adding a little bit more color on top. All right, let's continue. No matter how well you clean it, there's always a wax buildup. So what you do is you put the heat gun on there and you run it over the leather. If it starts shining up, that means it's had some wax on it. Like that. So you want to make sure you get all the wax off before you apply your dye. All right, let's give it some Big 4. You got to keep the leather hydrated as you're working on it. Now, this is not the color that it's going to be once it's done. We're going to tint it a little bit with black to give it that oxblood look. Okay, so you see the difference now in the color? This is tinted down with a little bit of black. Still not done yet, but you get the idea, right? See how bright that is? And that's a little bit muted. Not too bad. Much better than what they were, huh? Remember those white dots, white spots everywhere? I mean, I think you can see it. Well, maybe if you get real close, I don't know if you can still see it, but it looks much better than what it was. We're making progress. Now we let this dry over the weekend, and we come back and we put the welts on, soles, midsoles, everything else, and we're ready to go. All right, it's the next day. We get the stitch on the welt today, cork it, midsole, soles, and almost done with this job. All right. All right, so we're coming around the toe here that some cobblers, now this is mainly for the people in the business, when they're stitching the toe on, they pull the welt tight like this, and it really hugs the toe like that. And once everything is done, they try to force that down, but that's not good for the shape of the toe here. Sometimes it's not, doesn't sit right after you do that. So instead of pulling the welt tight, leave it, let it loose a little bit, right? So what you want it to look like when it's done, you want it to look flat like that. Okay. Now the way you do that is don't pull so tight at the toe, right here. Let it kind of loosen it up a little bit instead of putting the hole right lined up with the hole in the uppers. Back it up just a little bit. Just push the welt that way to give it a little bit of room so it's longer, if that makes sense. It's kind of hard to explain, but so once you continue to do that all the way around the toe, you're going to find that the welt is more relaxed and it's more in a flat style like that, where you don't have to flip the welt back to the position it's supposed to be. It looks so much nicer this way rather than when it hugs the uppers like that, you got to flip it up. So that's just for the people in the business, not really for the public, but thought I'd take the chance to share that with you guys, how I do the toes and around the back of the heel. It's so much easier this way. Well, not really, it's not really hard either way, but the end result is much more cleaner. And you don't see the welt stitches once you force that up or down, the welt down. That's the key. It's got to be nice and neat. I drink my whiskey. I've got my shirt on today. My Alan Edmonds shirt. Cool. Since I'm working on Alan Edmonds. We are making progress. You all know what time it is. Mini hammer time. Well, not really mini, but mid-sole hammer time. How about that? You guys love this hammer time shit, don't you? All right. What's that? What's that? Did I hear you right? Did you say more hammer time? Some more hammer time. Crazy fools. All right. Beautiful. Now we could have done it in a different color thread that kind of pops out, but there's a reason why I did black, because I want to be able to, I want you to be able to focus on the pattern I want to put on and not really the thread. So the main focus needs to be what I want to do on the bottom, not really the thread. And some other issues, some other jobs, we've done lighter color thread, green, blue, red, whatever, white, whatever the case may be. But this one, I've got something in mind. I'll show you later. Now, when it comes to edge trimming, okay, most people, what they'll do is they'll sand the edges and smooth it out. But I like to do mine differently. Every time that we have a certain width of a sole, we change the blade so we can get this little bead right here. You see this little groove? That's going to add a little bit of detail to the edge of the sole. This is nothing aesthetic. I mean, this is nothing functional, right? It's just aesthetic. And but I like the way it finishes when it gives a little bead all around the edge of the sole. I'll show you guys what I'm talking about once I get done with it. So we're going to do now, we're going to change the trim blade. And simply put that on there. Trying to look at that while I'm looking at the camera. Where's the hole? Oh no, I can't find the hole. There's the hole. Damn, I found the hole. Jeez, come on now, get in there. I'm struggling finding the hole. And then once we tighten this, a simple little screwdriver, not too tight. It's a reverse thread, which means that if it was tightened clockwise, it would just come off the threads once it starts spinning. So the reverse thread is you tighten it counterclockwise. And this right here is the guide there. You adjust how wide you want it to be. And now it's set, proper edge to give us that bead right there. Let me see if I can do a little bit to show you guys while the cameras are on my neck. Alright, so this is what I have in mind for the bottom. Ba-dow! Ba-dow! That's okay. It's different. Creative. I mean, he's going to walk through that pattern. It's not a big deal. It's all aesthetics. It's for looks. It's nothing for structural reasons. Alright, I'll show you guys how I do that. This is a barogging tool. Barogging means this right here. You see that pattern? It's got a big hole and two small holes next to it. This is what we have. They come in different sizes. So this particular one I had ordered, but unfortunately one of them broke. If you see that the large hole one, the tip broke right there. So I couldn't really use it for what I wanted to use it for. So I figured that I would use it for making decorative design when I wanted to use it. So that's what we're doing now. We're using it as a decorative design. Again, this is just aesthetics. It's nothing really structural that we're doing here. We're just adding a little bit of style design to it. That's really about it. Of course, I have to do it after I've had coffee. My hands are shaking. Oh, that's another subject I wanted to discuss with you guys. I don't have Alzheimer's. I don't have Parkinson's. I've been shaking since I was 10 years old. And I don't know why I shake. Now, I've had it checked out and everything seems to be okay. It's just that when I have caffeine sometimes, you can see it more into the camera, you know, when you're watching me. But it doesn't affect me in any other way. So I appreciate you guys are concerned, but I am okay. I really am. Well, physically anyway. Mentally, I don't know, you know. Can't control that. All right, let's continue. All right, welcome back. We're done with another project. I think these turned out really nice. I mean, look at this before and after. I mean, it's incredible that something so damaged, it came back pretty good. Now, in the uppers, there was a little bit of dimples along where it was damaged. Couldn't sand that too deep, so I sanded as best as I could, and it covered up a little bit, but there's still a little bit if you really look at it real close. But I think it's fine. I think what a beautiful job that from a before and after. I think the customer's going to be very pleased. All right, well, thank you for joining me. I appreciate that. If you guys have any question, email me, bedos@yahoo.com, bedos@yahoo.com. I've got over 500 emails that I got to get to. I'm kind of slacking a little bit on that department, so bear with me. I'll get to you guys as soon as I can. Oh, this jacket, I didn't make the jacket. I bought the jacket from I can't remember what the shop name was, and I made these whatchamacallits, these patches. The patches didn't come. I made them separately from another company. So I've got the U.S. flag, and we have the Armenian flag. We have Betos in the back. And then we've got a little emoji right there. Some of you guys may know what that is. Anyway, I just thought I wanted like a varsity jacket for myself, so I made this work. All right. Thank you, guys. Comment, share, subscribe, and all those things that would generate more viewers. We'd greatly appreciate it. We'll see you guys again on the next project. Take care.